Welcome to Morse's Math Morsels. There's no exercise. How to draw a parabola from some elementary school math. Yes, using some secondary math involving the parabola and second degree equations and so on. We're going to start with some very elementary school math, going back to the addition and the multiplication tables for very small whole numbers. First, I have drawn a set of what are called coordinate axes. The y-axis is vertical, and I've labeled it with some whole numbers spaced by 5s, 5 through 25. And that's the origin where this 0 is, and where this 0, comma 0 is. That's called the origin. And horizontally, the bottom is the x-axis. The numbers are increasing left to right, and I wrote in the whole numbers 1 through 10. So with the template in place, I will begin with 0 plus 10 equals 10. So I'm going to start with a couple small numbers, whole numbers, whose sum is some constant. In this case, every sum is going to equal 10. And then I'm going to multiply those same two numbers to get their product. 0 times 10 is 0. So the first number is going to be the x way over here, and the product I'm going to call y, which is the 0 times 10 in this case, and I've labeled that point 0, comma 0. And in the pattern that ensues, I'm going to keep adding 1 to the x values. And in order to keep the sum equaling 10, I'm going to have to add only a 9 to the 1, so that 9 plus 1 equals 10. So far so good. So now x is going to be 1, and we're going to get our y value by multiplying 1 by 9, which is naturally 9. So now I have the point 1, comma 9. There's my x value of 1, and there's my y value of 9. Label that 1, comma 9. X first and y second. Alright, the next addition to get a sum of 10 using the whole numbers is 2 plus 8. And then what? Multiply the 2 by the 8. Get their product of 16. And we have another x value and another y value. So I'm going to move over 2 units on the x-axis and go up to about where 16 appears to be in the y-axis. I'm going to label this 216. 2 for x, 16 for y. Continuing with the additions. 3 plus 7. Let's fix that 3 up a bit. Equals 10. Well, 3 times 7. Now we have 21 and 3. The 3 is the x value. Let's move up to about where 21 appears to be. Looks like it's about here. I'm going to label that 3, comma 21. 3 for the x, 21 product for the y. Next addition, so you probably guessed, probably figured out this next point already. 4 plus 6 equals 10. 4 times 6 equals 24. Next point to plot, 4 and 24. Let's go straight up from 4, that's about here, and 24 looks like it's about here. Notice our points seem to be getting closer together. There's a big gap here, and then a slightly smaller gap, and a smaller gap. I am even going to move that point down a little bit, get away from the 25. The next sum, 5 plus 5. And doing the elementary school arithmetic, that's a 25. Oh, we gotta fix that 5. 25, and I'm gonna plot point 5, 25, go over to 5 and up 25. And if I keep the additions going, you'll probably notice a reverse or an inverse pattern begins. We have 6 plus 4, then 7 plus 3, 8 plus 2, 9 plus 1, and 10 plus 0 at the end. And these are all equal to 10. So we're going to keep going higher and higher the x values. Notice as I went from 0 to 10, the second addend had to go in reverse from 10 to 0 to keep that sum at 10. And if I do the product, 6 times 4, that's the same as 4 times 6. So we're going to have another 24, 7 times the 3, just like the 3 times the 7 earlier, that's going to be a 21, and then you've figured out all the rest very quickly. 8 times 2 is 16, 9 times 1 is 9, 10 times 0 is 0. So I can throw on all these points. Okay, we have 6 and 24. Then we have 7 and 21. Let's see about where the 7 is. That's about here. 7, 21. Then we have 8 and 16. And we're about to get to the good part. We have 9 and 9. And finally, back on the ground again. 10, 0. So, who wants to play connect the dots? Well, I'm going to connect these dots best I can with a little curve. Here goes. And that curve I'm claiming is a parabola. I plotted a bunch of points. The first point being the x value, just the first addend, and those sums equaling 10. And the y value, just these numbers here are the products that I set up from these additions. Well, I believe that is a parabola, and in some other videos we'll discuss some of the properties of the parabola and figuring out, well, like, what's the equation of that? Does it have an equation? And is it really a parabola? Thanks for viewing.